How's it going, folks? Today we're going to be doing another install for you. Today we're going to be working on this Pro R right here. We're going to be working on installing a 6,000 pound winch to it. This is a 2025 with the redesigned front fascia. So not sure if it's different than the 2022 to 2024s, but we're going to go over how to do this one for anyone that might be wondering. All right, first up we got our unboxing. So it comes in this big blue box right here. So we're going to get to unpacking it, see what's inside, go over what's needed for this install, and then get to installing it. Inside, looks like we got the winch plate. That's gonna replace the plastic plate that's on the Razor right now. And set that to the side. Then we obviously got the winch itself. So we can go ahead and pull that out nice and heavy. Set that to the side here. And then this winch comes with the contactor box that we'll have to install with it. So that's what that is. And then we have a manual switch right here, Bluetooth switch right here with rapid rope recovery, and then a little hardware packet right here for what we're gonna need to install it. So for this install, you're gonna need a bunch of different things. You're gonna need, in terms of torque sets, you're gonna need a T25, you're gonna need a T27, you're gonna need a T30, and a T40 as well. You're also going to need a 15mm socket, as well as a 10mm socket. And then you're also going to need a size 4 Allen, or hex head. In terms of tools, you're gonna need a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 inch, unless you have some type of an adapter. Then lastly, you are gonna need some sort of like flathead screwdriver. I just have a little bit that I can put into this. If you have an actual flathead, that's totally fine, just some sort of flathead screwdriver. And then always good to have some shop towels. I don't know if we're actually gonna need them, but just some sort of rags or anything, something like that, in case you need to use rags for something. All right, so first step, since we are gonna be installing something that is electrical and powered, is gonna be to take the seat out and disconnect the negative terminal from the battery. So to take out the seats on the 2025 Pro R, they do have heated and ventilated functions. So you're gonna wanna unplug this clip right here, which is what supplies power for that. So just like that. And then after that, there is a little clip under here. I don't know if you can see it, but you're just gonna pull up on that, kind of get these harnesses out of the way, pull the seat forward, and then kind of just backwards a little bit to unclip it. These are the two front brackets that you're just gonna kind of unclip the seat from. And then you got your battery down here. So you can go ahead and disconnect the negative of the battery. It is a 10mm socket. I believe the 4-seaters come with 2 batteries. So if you have a 4-seater, probably disconnect both batteries, but the 2-seater only comes with 1. So we can go ahead and unscrew that. It's gonna have a nut, a washer, and then the wire for the negative. So just kind of disconnect that, get it out of the way so it's not hitting anything. And I always like to just kind of put these nuts and washers back in so we don't misplace them. All right, so next step is gonna be to take this front kind of plastic bumper off right here. So this has 4 torque screws on each, 2 on each side. They are T40, so you're just gonna go ahead and pop those out real quick. Awesome. After you do take these out, it is worth noting that there are 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. The 2 longer ones will go on the top when you reinstall it, and the 2 shorter ones will go on the bottom down here when you reinstall it. So you can set those to the side. This should just pop right off. You can set that to the side. Next thing you're gonna do is there's these 2 little turn clips right here. Just gonna turn those. Kind of hear them pop out. You should be able to just pop this grill piece out nice and easy. Set that to the side. I did forget to mention in the tool part of the video that you will also need a pair of kind of push pin pliers, whatever you want to use just to pop these little push pins out. There's 1. There's 2. And you can just set these to the side as well. And then next step's gonna be to pull this kind of bull bar out. So down here you have these 2 bolts, and then you also have 2 more up high. These are gonna be your 15mm socket. Break these free. These are on there pretty tight, so might take a little bit of effort to break them free. There's one. For these top 2, you will most likely need an extension. So I just grabbed an extension real quick. Just do this last one real quick. This last one, as you can see, this might tilt a little bit, so you can hold it up. Make it easier to get that last one out. There we go. That bull bar will just fall right out once you get all 4 of these bolts out. And you can set this to the side. This will not be reused. So if you have a winch bumper, which I have coming, so you won't see that installed today, but you can either use the plastic piece that's provided in the kit that they send you, or install your winch bumper, but this piece will not be reinstalled with the winch. All right, so now we're here on the right-hand side of the vehicle. The contactor box, when we install it, it's gonna go up here on the right-hand side. So when we run the wiring for the contact box, you're gonna need to run it on the inside of this little bracket right here, this radiator bracket. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off real quick. This is a 10mm. This will be reinstalled, so make sure that you keep the bracket here and the hardware. We already pulled one of the bolts out when we took the front bumper off, so we just have to pull this back bolt out right here. Awesome, and then yep, this bracket will just pop right out with its 10mm bolt. You can set that to the side. I like to try and keep everything together, so the 4 bolts that came out from the bull bar, and then the bracket, and the push pins, and the bolts for the bumper. So that way when you're putting everything back in, you have a pile so you know what goes where. So that's pretty much everything for the front end of the car, the bumper and the side brackets and all those pieces. So moving kind of up to the top end part of the car, we are going to need to take out these tweeters right here and the dash as well, so that we can run our wiring up and in and get all the plugs installed. So first thing we're gonna do is just pop this top storage box open. I'm gonna have to remove this. So there's 2 size 4 Allen or hex head right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop those out real quick. And then if your car is equipped with it, there's this little USB cord right here, so you're gonna wanna just go ahead and push that out. And then once that USB cord is out, if your vehicle is equipped with that, you're just gonna kinda go ahead and pull the storage box up and out. All right, so next step's gonna just be to remove this top little hood piece right here. So really easy, just 2 T40 bolts on either side right here. Awesome. And then once those are out, this should kind of just pop right out, just like that. All right, next step, if your vehicle is equipped, you're gonna remove these tweeters right here on either side. So there's 2 bolts on either side, one on the right side, one on the inside on the left. It is a T30. If you're doing it without an extension, the ratchet does kind of come down onto the paint trim here, so I just added an extension so I'm not hitting onto the paint as much. Now that these tweeters are disconnected, you're gonna go ahead and just pull up on them. And then there's this kind of roll cage protection system, like rubber grommet that these slide into, and it kind of sits down at the bottom of the roll cage. You're just gonna slide that up, kind of up and out of the way. There's just a little white connector right here for the tweeter, so you're just gonna wanna take something tiny like a screwdriver, a little pick or punch or something, just push in the clip. So you can unclip it like that, and you can set these to the side. Then repeat the same process on the other side, so just disconnect the tweeter, slide that roll cage piece up, just like that. And just go ahead and disconnect the tweeter from the vehicle. Just like that. These are left and right, so make sure that when you put them back on, that you're putting on the right side. Then next step's gonna be to pop this right-hand storage box up, and there's 4 screws in here. Kind of go ahead and disconnect those so you're gonna be able to pull the dash. Switching over to the 1/4" ratchet here, I did grab an extension because it does make it a little bit easier to get these bolts out. And then you have a T27, which are the size of these bolts that you're gonna be pulling. So we can go ahead and unbolt those real quick. All right, so with removing the dash, first step's gonna be to remove these 2 T40 bolts. in the front of the dash or towards the front of the vehicle right here. And next step, there's another set of T40 bolts, one on this side and one on the other side, kind of on the side of the dash. So I can go ahead and remove those. And your next step is going to be to remove this center cover panel for the screen. So to do that, you're just going to kind of pull away or pull out. Then just kind of work your way around, just pull all the clips out. Should just pop off just like that. Then your next step is going to be to remove the dash itself. So to do that, you're just going to kind of pull up and out and just kind of work your way around the dash doing that. Just like that. It's definitely not the easiest thing to take out, so just take your time. Try not to break any of the clips. But once you get it popped out, it should just kind of slide on out just like that. Sweet, so now that we've gotten all that disassembled, we can get to work with getting the winch installed and getting it all wired up. All right, so first step with getting the winch installed here, there's these two little clips right here. So you're gonna lift the winch up and onto the razor and clip these little clip pieces right here into these little holes right here to get the winch to kind of stay up there. This winch is pretty heavy. Definitely something you can do by yourself, but there's one side, there's the other side, so just like that, go ahead and get it clipped on up there. Then you're gonna go ahead and put these 4 bolts in. So they were replacing these bolts that came out. They give you these black bolts instead, so just gonna go ahead and get those started. 4 bolts, just like when we took them out, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. Once they're all started by hand, then you can go ahead and tighten them all down. And once that's all tightened down, you can get to work with installing this wire harness over on the right hand side of the vehicle. And you're gonna bring the harness over to the right side of the vehicle, like I said. Remember how you uninstall this little bracket right here? So you're gonna run the harness up the shroud of the radiator. And you got these little clips right here that you're gonna clip into these little plastic wings that are on the shroud of the radiator. And then you make sure that the harness kind of goes, kind of hard to see, but goes up and over the shock here in the suspension. And you got 2 more clips right here that are gonna clip in to 2 more plastic pieces that are up here above the shock. All right, your next step after getting these clips attached, there's 2 up there, they suck to do. So, but once you get those attached, you have your contactor box right here, and you have 4 screw holes right here. Hopefully you can see that, kind of up against this plastic panel. So you're just going to go ahead and line the contact box up with those 4 holes and get them all screwed in. Doesn't need to be super tight, just snugly in there. Wouldn't even go all the way tight till you get all 4 in. And then you can go back and tighten them up the last couple cranks real quick. Sweet, now let's do the 2 inside ones real quick. All right, so just finished up putting in the contactor box. Oh, the 2 on the back side are an absolute bear to do. So I had to call underneath the machine and like just do all sorts of different combinations of things to get those in and secured tightly. So those are in now, and then these are in now too, all snugged down. So next step you're gonna do is to take this piece of the wiring harness right here, and you're gonna run this up and through this little grommet piece that is behind the contactor box here. So I find it's easiest if you just take this grommet piece out, honestly. Then you can just run all the stuff through it down here. Just like that. And then you can kind of just turn all this around and run it up through the hole here. There we go. All right, so once you got that harness pulled up and through, you're gonna have this connection right here, which goes into the pulse bar. So whichever connection you want to use into the pulse bar, you can just disconnect it. Kind of just pull that piece out. Then go ahead and push this one in until you hear it click, just like that one did. So after you connect the plug to the pulse bar right there, you're going to take your positive and negative terminal wires. You're going to screw them into their respective spots. So Polaris supplies you with these two nuts, and then they're a 10mm socket. So you can just go ahead and get it on and get the nut started with your hand. Snug it down. Until it's tight. Get that started. Just tighten that all the way down. Just like that. Then there's going to be a little clip right here, which you can just go ahead and clip onto this plastic piece right here. All right, so next step's gonna be to install your winch manual remote switch. That's right here. So you're just gonna pop out one of these pre-installed plastic pieces, and kind of just get down there and push from the back and just kind of pop it out just like that. And make sure you got this going in right so that the winch end reads correctly on the top. And you're just gonna run this through on the back, and you can come in again from the back and grab it. And then just kind of run it till it clicks into place. Just like that. Awesome. All right, so then you're gonna run that through this little hole right here. Just like that. Underneath this is what I like to do, makes it more out of the way. Then you have your winch switch harness right here. So you're just gonna plug that right into this. Just like that. And you should be good to go. So if you do have any kind of like extra slack anywhere, they do provide some cable ties or zip ties for you to kind of zip tie up any slack that's hanging around if you want to. But I haven't found much really, so I find that it's pretty good to go. So now we'll start to reassemble everything and make sure the winch works. All right, now that we've got everything installed, time to start putting this thing back together. So first thing I did was just to put this little rubber grommet back in that I pulled out to route everything up into the front part, the inside part of the car. So there's just a little like seat in between the two rubber flaps on either side that this like body tube sits in. So just go ahead and pop that back in. And then next thing you're gonna do is take this bumper piece, and you're going to pull these 4 bolts out, and then you're going to put the winch piece into here. Then you're just going to put this back on. So we'll get going with that real quick. And this will go ahead and just pop off. And then you're going to go ahead and reinstall this piece. We have these clip pieces right here. When you do reinstall those bolts, and then these pieces are on the frame for these bolts that you're going to reinstall. So you're going to go reinstall this, and then you're going to put in the winch plate bracket plastic piece since the winch is on there now. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this reinstalled. Just kind of put this on top, so it just clips in just like that. And these line up just like that, and the bottom line up. Remember that there were 2 long screws and 2 short screws. The long ones go on the top, and the short ones go on the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get these screwed back in real quick. When you go to do this long one on the passenger side of the vehicle or the right hand side, just keep in mind that this bracket, it gets sandwiched in between the bumper and the body, so you're going to want to reinstall this bracket at that time. We're just going to pop this in here. Again, the wiring harness for the winch is on the inside of it, and it's going to be a 10mm bolt right here. This goes in from the top, nice and easy. I wouldn't go too tight with it until you get this side lined up down by the front. And then you can just push the bumper in. Get the bumper all lined up with it. And get that started. Like that. And once both those are started, you can go ahead and tighten them both down. Sweet. And we can do the 2 bottom bolts real quick. Once that's back on, you can go ahead and install this winch front little plastic bracket piece. That will be replacing this piece right here. So you can go ahead and run the winch through it. And line it up. Make sure that these little clips are lined up before you put it on to ensure that you can screw in your screws. Then after reinstalling all the plastic bumpers down there, you can pop the little grill back in. Just push these little pins in and turn them. Just like that. That's all locked back in there. And then we can get to reassembling the dash. Alright, first step with reinstalling the dash is to put the main dash piece back in. So to do this, I'm just coming from either side. I'm coming in from the driver's side. Just kind of set it in place as much as you can. And then you're just gonna have to kind of finagle it, kind of push down and in to get the tabs to set into place. Might have to, if you're by yourself like I am, might have to work from side to side. Make sure if you do have the tweeters that these little wires don't get pinched that the tweeters plug into, that they come up through the holes. Not the tweeter to plug back into the tweeter. So there we go. Alright, so once you get the dash reinstalled and all the pins clicked back into place, next thing you're going to do is just take your screen cover and go ahead and pop that back into place. Like I said earlier, they do have these little tabs on the inside of them, so just gonna line them up so they clip back into their respective tab holes. Just kind of give them a little push on each side and they should click right into place. They do supply you with a wireless remote holder right here, and 2 screws if you want to mount this up. They recommend mounting it right here. You can mount it wherever you want though, and they do, like I said, supply 2 screws to drill and mount that up. I'm not going to use that personally. I just find it's easier to keep this in the center console or the glove box or whatever, or one of these top storage bins. So I'm not going to use that, but they do supply it, and they do give you 2 screws, and you can put it wherever you want and just screw it right in to hold your wireless remote if you'd like. After you get that screen cover put back on, next step's going to just be to reinstall your tweeters and your roll cage covers right here. So first step's just to re-click it into its little wiring harness right here. Just like that. Here, a little click. So after you connect the tweeters back into the wiring harness, you can slide your roll cage protection system. You can slide your roll cage cover back down and kind of tuck this in as much as you can. Just like that. And then there's these 2 little hooks right here. Those 2 little hooks are just kind of hook in on either side of the roll cage cover, and then you can put your 2 screws back in. So again, going from the outside, I would use an extension so that you're not hitting into the paint as much as possible. But they should just line right up perfectly. Like that. And you can do the one on the inside. I like to pop the extension off for the inside, just makes it a little bit easier. So you can go ahead and just plug the tweeter back in, just like that. Slide your roll cage cover back down. Tuck this in as much as possible. Just like that. And then slide these clips into the cover, just like that. And next you can take your little top storage box. Go ahead, if you have that supplied USB cable, go ahead and run that back through. Get that USB cable back in there. Then you're gonna go ahead and use the 2 supply bolts that you took out and put those back in. Tighten them down pretty snug. Just like that. And close that up. And then you can come on over to the other side and put the 4 bolts back in to this storage box over here. Sweet. Then once all your storage boxes are back in and everything, you can go back and secure the dash. Alright, and once all that's in, last step you have is just to reinsert this top piece back in. Make sure you get everything, any tools out of there that might be in there. We just got these 2 tabs on the front that go down. And it just kind of rests into place there. And then you got your 2 T40 bolts. Alright, so just hook the battery back up real quick. There we go. Then we'll grab the seat and just go ahead and slide this back in. Make sure that this isn't pinched or anything, and that you get the seat to slide in on those 2 brackets. And just push down, should you clip into place. Then we can plug this back in for the heaters and coolers, and we should be good to go. Let's turn the razor on real quick and make sure that the winch works. For the Bluetooth remote here, there's a power button, in and out button. So for the power button, just go ahead and hold that, and you should see this red button at the top that turns on. And then if you press in, it should go in. Press out, it should go out. There we go. So we'll go ahead and suck it all the way in. Has an auto stop on it, which is awesome. So there you go, folks. Full 6,000 pound winch install for a 2025 Pro R. This is the same on a 2-seater or 4-seater. Only thing that might be different is when you're disconnecting the batteries, you, I believe, have 2 batteries on a 4-seater that you might want to disconnect instead of the single battery on the 2-seater. But yeah, if you have, feel free to drop a comment or question or anything below, and then please subscribe, like, and come back for more. We got more content coming soon. Thank you very much.